Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 172. The Fleets Come to Mayberry, Part 3. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the wonderful folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and pick up some of your favorite Mayberry items for your friends. Give them to them. Get them hooked on the Andy Griffith Show. That's what we need. They've got the 50th anniversary DVDs, all kinds of things at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. The executive producer of episode number 172 is Rebecca Spears. Hey, Rebecca, thank you so much for your support. Yeah, we appreciate those donations. That helps keep Two Chairs No Waiting running. So, folks, hey, I'm Allan Newsome, your host for Two Chairs No Waiting, and thank you so much for being part of the show. We got folks in the chat room visiting with each other tonight while I'm recording, and I definitely encourage you to do that on Monday nights. So drop by and see us. And tonight, as I've already said, we're going to be talking about the Fleets Come to Mayberry, Part 3. Well, we've already talked the last 2 weeks about Bobby Fleet and his band with a beat. It's been the focus of our last 2 episodes. So if you go back and listen, that'd be, what would that be? 70 and 71, 171 and 170. So you can go back and listen to those anytime you'd like. Those are fun episodes. I think I found some interesting little tidbits. But those have been the focus of the last 2 episodes, and both of them were Bobby Fleet, both of these episodes that we went through, and they were both in the first season of the Andy Griffith Show. Now we're going to move on to an episode titled The Mayberry Band. Well, you just heard The Mayberry Band is the theme song to this podcast, has been the entire run of the podcast, have been the Mayberry Band playing Stars and Stripes Forever. Well, that episode, it aired on November 19th, 1962, and introduced us, the fans of the Andy Griffith Show, to Freddy Fleet and his band. Now, we'll go through this in a little while, but I just want to go ahead and mention, we make a mistake, and I do it, I've always done it, in calling Freddy Fleet's band, Freddy Fleet and his band with a beat, just like Bobby Fleet's band. Well, that's never said during this episode. I went through just this week and re-listened to everything. I got audio sound bites. You'll be able to hear them. They talk about, hey, Freddy Fleet's in town. And Freddy Fleet and his band are in town. But they never say Freddy Fleet and his band with a beat. So, that's something I had never really picked up on. We always assumed, that maybe Bobby and Freddy Fleet were the same person, because there's discussion during the episode about, Freddy says something about, every time I come through here, you come up with one of these pot-bellied schemes. Well, that's not, that doesn't mean that he's the same person. Before we get into that, let's go through this episode and have fun with it. And we're going to talk about Freddy Fleet and who played him and everything. But, before we do that, we have got to listen to a few quotes from the show. So first off, this is right at the beginning of the episode itself, when Floyd is in the barber shop, and Andy's just got his hair cut, and we hear
Wait a minute,
this.
Eddie. Just a second. There you are.
Much obliged.
Every head a walking testimony.
Every head a walking testimony. That has nothing to do with Freddy Fleet. But I had to talk about it just because, I love Floyd so much. And Andy, so Andy had just got his hair cut, and Floyd went and trimmed up the little straggling hair. But then Andy walked out onto the street.
Hey, Freddy Fleet's band's in town.
And so he saw Freddy Fleet down the street right there. So Andy and Barney head over to talk to him. Now listen to that again.
Hey, Freddy Fleet's band's in town.
He says Freddy Fleet's band's in town. He doesn't say Freddy Fleet and his band with the beat is in town. So here he goes over and talks to Freddy. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hear this.
Hey, Freddy.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
Fine, you remember Barney?
Sure I do. How are you, Barney?
Well,
10-4.
What you doing in town?
Oh, we're just passing through. We're doing Rolling tonight for a little dance date.
So that's the first time we hear Freddy Fleet. Now, Freddy is played by, his name is Joseph Cirola. It's Sirola. He was born October 7th, 1929. Now, believe it or not, he is very hard to come up with information about. We're going to talk to him a little more as we go through the podcast toward the end. But this is Freddy Fleet that we're hearing. And so let's go ahead and hear another sound clip here with Freddy, where he's asking Andy if he can leave the bus out on the street for a while. Remember, he got a ticket last time. He had left it out there.
Andy, I can leave the bus here for an hour.
Oh, sure,
Crazy.
sure.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so that was him again. Now, that voice is what I want you to try to remember. The voice of Joe Shirley, he is a famous voiceover actor, which I didn't know. I didn't know that until I started doing research for this episode. But anyway, we'll get back to that, as I said. So let's hear, because this is great. This is Barney. Remember, Barney's trying to get into the Mayberry Band. Now, why he's wanting to get into the Mayberry Band, you got a question. But here's Barney and his quotes coming up.
Hurry up, Barn. I'm due at the council meeting in 5 minutes.
I'm coming out now. Just sit there with your back to me.
All right, my back's to you. Holy smoke, Barn, what are you trying to do?
They're great, ain't they?
What?
I say they're great, ain't they?
Yeah.
So you remember that Barney brought these cymbals from Cymbal City, and he comes up right behind Andy and does that. So now Andy is not, wanting to keep Barney from getting into the, well, he is too. He's wanting to keep him from getting into the band, but Barney really wants to audition for him. So let's hear this clip.
Well, what do you say, Andy? Can I go with the band?
Oh, well, now, Barn, see, nobody gets in without an audition.
All right, audition me.
Well, I ain't got time right
Oh,
now.
how long can one song take?
All right.
Brum-bum, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, Barney! That's fine. You're a natural.
Then I'm in.
Well, not as a regular cymbalist. You're in as a standby cymbalist.
We ain't got a cymbalist.
Well, that's the best kind of standby thought. Well, what do you say to that?
Andy, I'll say it with music.
So, wow, Andy, Andy is covering his ears. I know you remember this episode. He's covering his ears. Barney's wanting to play the cymbals in the band, and it's just horrible. Now, the next scene of the show was when Andy had gone to the council meeting. He had talked about it a minute ago. So he had to head over to the council there at the mayor's office. So he went there. Now, we're not going to play this whole thing here, but there's a little section of this that I think is just amazing. I love it. I've always loved it. The "hear, hear" is what Ralph says. So let's go ahead and hear this.
Merle?
Well, as you all know, I'm chairman of the dance committee for this year's Apricot Blossom Festival.
Here, here.
Say, well?
Here, here. Something you say at meetings when you like something somebody said.
I've always loved that quote. So it's always been one of them that to me was just a great quote.
Here, here.
Say, well?
Here, here. Something you say at meetings when you like something somebody said.
When you go to Mayberry events, you'll hear that all the time, people yelling it out in the audience, and this is where it comes from. Hear, hear. People will yell that. So that's the reason I wanted to play that little clip for you. Has nothing to do with Freddy Fleet. But remember, this is what it's all about. This whole episode is about the Mayberry Band and how terrible they are, and just the mayor, the mayor's just dead set that there's no way this band is going to represent Mayberry at the state capitol. So let's go ahead and hear Andy trying one last time to convince the mayor.
Oh, wait a minute, Mayor. Now, I don't mean to bulldoze you, and granted, the boys don't play very good, but I figure on rehearsing them real good and real hard today and tonight. Now, how about hearing them one more time before you make up your mind?
Sheriff, you know good and well.
A half hour of your lunch break tomorrow. 15 minutes. A half a chorus of Stars and Stripes Forever.
All right.
We'll work real hard.
Oh, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
I'll listen to them before I eat.
They're so bad that the poor mayor is going to listen to them before he eats. So now we're going to go ahead and listen to this one little clip right here because I love this. I love this clip right here. This is Barney, another one of his little things he does.
Barney, will you quit that? I'm trying to talk to the boys. Now, we ain't got much time.
Oh, right, Chickie, baby. I'll cool it, Chickie.
He got that from Phil's uncle. He's been hanging around the Freddy Fleet band all afternoon.
So he's been hanging around the band all afternoon with Phil's uncle. And Floyd is just disgusted with the whole thing. Barney's going around gassing the duck, Chickie baby, and all these other,
Let's let Andy make the scene.
those kind of statements. Now I've got several clips of that, but we'll just cut through that because I think those are great. And he gets on to him for saying this.
Let's let Andy make the scene.
And then later on he does this. He does this one.
Okay, gas it up, Chickie.
Gas it up, Chickie.
Oh, right, Chickie, baby. I'll cool it, Chickie.
So Barney uses all those little statements there. But then, well, we'll hear this real quick. Let me turn it down as I talk.
Turn to number 12 in the brown book and play it like you never played it
Now,
before.
this is the theme
Everybody
to the Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. And now, what we're hearing, we listen to every podcast episode. And the poor mayor. Now, you guys listen to this every week, and I've turned it down for your listening enjoyment. You guys listen to this every week, and some of you have complained, but if you'll remember, the poor mayor had to sit there and listen to this, and he's just shocked at how terrible the Mayberry Band is. And these guys are asking to go to the state capitol to represent Mayberry, and poor mayor, he tries to do the right things by the citizens of Mayberry, but he is just determined not to let this horrible band go and represent them at the state capitol. And, I can't say, oh, they are horrible. But then the next line is the mayor's.
Well, Mayor?
Well, I'll admit they sound better than they did last year. But they are still
So he's not going to let them go. But the mayor is saying
band I have ever heard in
they do sound better than last year. Poor guys, they do sound better than last year, but they're disgusting. All right, so then we're going to head back in here to Freddie. So Andy gets an idea with Freddy Fleet and his band can play with the band, the marching band, and so then we'll be able to sound better. So here's Andy.
My boys play with your band?
Well, it's just for a half hour, Freddie, just long enough for the mayor to hear us.
Look, Andy, I'd like to accommodate you. I really would, but we got to get going.
Like now, Chickie?
Now. Andy, maybe next time, huh?
Well, wait a minute, Freddie. Barn, I think we'll just hold this bus for a routine check.
What routine check?
Interstate pest control. It is bug month,
I almost forgot about that.
Well, Deputy, go ahead with the inspection.
So Andy's pulling another fast one, just like he did on Bobby Fleet, with the trying to arresting him for parking his bus there and not moving it, and it got all those tickets. So Freddie,
Hold it, boys.
Freddie just says no.
I should have known you'd pull something like this. No, all right, we'll do it. Hey, you might be a gas at that.
Oh, much obliged, Freddie, and we promise to have you out of here in time for your date.
Yeah, sure. You know something, Sheriff? Every time I come into this town, you pull one of your pot-bellied schemes.
Well, we're trying to figure out some way to make you stay.
Yeah.
So poor Freddy Fleet, he gets suckered into this again. And I'm gonna skip along a little bit no, I won't. We'll go ahead and listen to this. We got time. Floyd, if you remember, was in the Mayberry Band. He played trombone. Well, he wasn't Well, he wasn't very good. So at some point during the getting ready when Freddie Fleet and them were going to come in, well, they got to give up some of their uniforms so that Freddie Fleet's guys can play in the band. So Andy had asked Floyd here to change uniforms. So let's hear this.
Floyd, you change uniforms with him.
Change uniforms with him? Well, that doesn't seem fair, Andy. Well, after all, I played the trombone quite well. I've been a member of this band ever since its inception, and besides that, I'm a founder. Now, you don't just take a founder and just set him to one side.
All right, Floyd, you can march, but don't play.
So Andy's going to let him march in the band, but he doesn't want him to play because he's not good enough, so he's going to mess it all up. Now, Phil Skunkle. Now, if you remember him on the episode, Phil Skunkle is in Freddie Fleet's band. He's got a goatee on his chin, and he's going to play trumpet for the band here. So here's...
All right, stars and stripes forever. Ready? You don't have any music.
Don't worry about it, Daddy. I'll read your lips.
Hold it, boy. Hold
it! So Phil's just too good. That's what it is. Phil is so good. You know, Andy tells me, I know those are hard to play, but, we can't handle it. But then, of course, the band with the Freddie Fleet's band, this is them. Sounds pretty good. You know, so they're coming through the streets of Mayberry, and the mayor and Barney are enjoying listening to them and watching them, and the mayor's confused as to how in the world has Andy been able to make this band sound this good. Now remember, Floyd can't play the trombone, so he's just walking around without the trombone even in his mouth. And then Phil Skunkle's playing the trumpet, but he's got that goatee, so he's trying to hide it under his coat. And then the drummer's got a goatee. There's just... But see, wow, they sounded so much better thanks to Freddie Fleet and his band. So thank goodness they sounded better, because you guys, because you listen to it and suffer through it every week with the Mayberry Band providing our theme song. So that's just, I don't think there's a more fitting song for our show. Now, let's go back to Freddie Fleet and his band with the beat. That is never mentioned in this episode at all. There are scenes during the episode where we can actually see the bus clearly, completely clearly. Now, if you'll remember on the other podcast with Bobby Fleet and his band, if you looked at the pictures I've posted at facebook.com/2chairs, you'll be able to see that it's for episodes 170 through 172 is the way that the album is titled. You can clearly see on the side of the bus, this big long car they drive, it says Bobby Fleet and his band with a beat. Well, on this episode, they are driving the same, or at least it looks like the same model of vehicle, but there is nothing written on the side. And so there's no indication actually that this is really Freddie Fleet and his band with the beat. So, is it two different bands? Are Freddie and Bobby brothers, perhaps, that have both have bands? Maybe, could be. But the mayor sees this big bus coming through town, and he makes this comment.
Who in the world is that? I don't know, Mayor. A couple of them had beards there. Must be one of them traveling religions.
It must be one of them traveling religions. So, Andy and Barney, they were able to pull off this thing on the mayor and get him to agree to let the boys go on their trip, because, they sounded a lot better, and they're actually going to make it. And then the mayor, we'll play this at the end. We'll play this for the end of the show. So let's go on back into Freddie Fleet. So we've talked about Freddie Fleet. We've shown you Freddie Fleet. Now, what I want you to tell you is this guy's name is Joe Shirley. And he was a voiceover actor. Now, I remember this, and you may or may not, and I don't have video for this, but I do have the audio, so check this out. This is Joe Shirley as Dr. Doom. If you ever read a Fantastic Four comic book or saw the movies or anything like that, he was Dr. Doom on the 1967 version of Fantastic Four. So let's hear him. Here he is.
So, Princess, your warnings were useless. Now watch the Fantastic Four struggle in the clutches of Dr. Doom. Observe their puny efforts in their endeavor to avoid the air duct.
Oh, how can anyone be so
That's
cruel?
Freddy Fleet.
That, my lady, is why the world fears Dr. Doom.
And you can definitely tell it's him if you'll remember. Let's go back and hear his voice here when he first meets Andy and Barney.
Hey, Freddy!
Hey, Andy, how are you?
Fine, you remember Barney?
Sure, I do. How are you, Barney?
Well,
10-4.
What you doing in town?
Oh, we're just passing through. We're doing Rolly tonight for a little dance date.
So that is him playing Dr. Doom. Let me play you the Dr. Doom a little bit.
So, Princess, your warnings were useless.
That's him.
Now watch the Fantastic
So we won't listen to all that, but that's him. Now we have. Let me give you. This is a video. Now the video, we're gonna have links to it in the show notes. If you watch the video version of the show, I'm going to show these to you. There are a video. This is from 1965, and it is a AMC Rambler commercial. So let's hear this. Now this is Joe Shirley, Freddy Fleet as well.
2 new 65 cars. The light-colored one is a Rambler Classic. Both drivers hit their brakes. Now we're going to reverse the film in this demonstration to show you why Ramblers stopped and the other car didn't.
That's Freddy.
All Ramblers have double safety brakes with tandem master cylinders serving 2 hydraulic systems. To simulate damage, one line is cut. Its hydraulic pressure lost. But Rambler provides an extra safety margin, a dual brake system. In nearly all other cars, only one hydraulic line stands between you and this. Fortunately, this possibility is remote.
Now, for those of you who can't see this, the car's wrecking. They cut the hydraulic
That's why double safety brakes are standard.
All right, so that's the Rambler. Now, that was in 1965. Okay, so this is a old commercial. Now we have another commercial. This is from 2009. When so Joe has had a long career of doing audio work, and he's done all kinds of audio voiceovers. He was on several TV series, like The Magician was a cool one. As I researched it, Bill Bixby had a show called The Magician back in the 70s, and he was on that show. He's on a lot of things, but he is one of the most successful voiceover actors in the history of the profession. And he's been working, as I said, that was a Rambler commercial, AMC Rambler from 1965. And now we're going to hear a commercial here that's more recent, 2009. I was able to grab. So let's check that out.
What's lurking under the bread?
That's him.
What's hiding under the sauce? What's buried among the veggies? What are many sandwich chains and fast food places covering up? Cheap chicken. Chicken that's ground up and mixed with seaweed extract, soy, and fat.
Sounds like a horror movie.
How do you think they make cheap
Now pay attention as he
Want a
quits.
chicken sandwich
There
that
he
doesn't
is.
scare you? Demand Boar's Head Everroast, the highest quality pure chicken breast. It's the best roast chicken ever.
Now that voice I have heard a lot. And I never realized that was Freddy Fleet. I've heard that voice on many commercials, not just that. And that was for Boar's Head. It's a restaurant chain, I believe. And anyway, that was Freddy Fleet. That's Joe Shirley, or Joseph, but he's Joe Shirley, Sirola, Shirley. There you go. I didn't say it right. Shirley. I kept saying Shirley. So anyway, he did a lot of commercials like that, and he also appeared, and I thought this was really interesting. He appeared on the Clint Eastwood movie Hang 'em High back in 1968. And get this, the people he appeared with on this movie, as I was researching, because they're all Mayberry people as we start going through this. He appeared, of course, it was Clint Eastwood, Pat Hingle, You may not remember that name, but he played Fred Gibson on Wyatt Earp Rides Again. He was the fellow who was bringing Wyatt Earp Jr., or whoever he was, a descendant of Wyatt Earp, through town. That was Pat Hingle, Mayberry person. Allan Hale Jr. was in Hang 'em High as well. That same Clint Eastwood movie. Allan Hale Jr., of course, played Skipper on Gilligan's Island, but on the Andy Griffith Show, he was Jeff Pruitt on Farmer Takes a Wife. Arlene Galanka was on this movie, and that's Millie. I don't think I have to tell you what episodes. She was Millie on the Andy Griffith Show. And Herb Ellis. Herb Ellis was on this movie. And have we talked about him? Yeah, he's Bobby Fleet from The Guitar Player Returns, last week's episode that we talked about. So, Freddie Fleet and Bobby Fleet were both in the Hang 'em High movie. So if you're watching a Clint Eastwood movie, Hang 'em High in 1968, look for both of them. We also had in that same movie Todd Andrews. He was Ralph Chase, the inspector, who, Andy went up to Ben Sewell's house, and Ben Sewell was shooting at Andy as he walked up to the house, and he's like, I'd like to report a cake, a tie, that guy. That's him. And finally, James Westerfield was in Hang 'em High with Joe Shirley. He played Uncle Ollie on Family Visit on the Andy Griffith Show. So, wow, there were a lot of alumni from the Andy Griffith Show on Hang 'em High. I never realized it, but as part of the research, I thought it was really neat that Freddie Fleet and one of the Bobby Fleets both appeared on Hang 'em High as well. You may not think it's neat, but I love that kind of stuff. And so I live for it. So, well, not quite, but I definitely enjoy it. So, folks, I would love to hear from you. I'm doing this a little early because we're going to end the show on a quote as a rollout here. But folks, I'd love to hear from you what you thought about the Fleets Come to Mayberry. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. More information, if you know it, about any of these actors that we've talked about, Joe Shirley, Herb Ellis, any of the Bobby Fleets, Freddie Fleet, anything like that. I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me, and I'd love to hear from you at 888-684-8415. It's a free phone call for you. Call me. Love to hear your voice. If you don't want to call me, which I would prefer, but if you don't want to call me, you can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. If you have a setup for doing recordings like I'm doing with a podcast, you can record it and email me the recording at that same email address, floyd@imayberry.com. You can drop by twochairsnowaiting.com. The website itself, you can just drop by there, leave me comments in any of the show notes, because every show notes there's comments filled. You can drop by our Facebook fan page there on Facebook as well, and drop me a line there. Would love to hear that. You can leave messages there on Facebook. Or lastly, you can just, any of those ways, I'd love to hear from you. How about that? Just any way you'd like to get in touch with me. Now, to close out the show, what we're going to hear is the mayor's speech to the Mayberry Band, because Andy was so good at convincing them that, hey, the band sounds great. So if you'll remember, toward the end of the episode there, the mayor is standing out on the street, and they got the little bus, a little short, small bus that the band is going to take off to the Capitol, and then the mayor wants to talk to them. So I'll leave you with the mayor's speech and the Mayberry Band playing as they drove away. And just remember the look on the poor mayor's face as he realized they are just as terrible as ever. So, folks, we'll see you guys next week, and I hope you'd enjoy the episode, and we'll talk to you later.
I'll be brief. I just want you to know that I am proud of each and every one of you. You have overcome innumerable obstacles to play well. And we can send you off with pride and joy in our hearts, knowing that you will do the fair city of Mayberry proud. Goodbye and good luck.
That's right. Go ahead, Don. Get right on in the budget. We'll see you, Mayor. Good night. Good night. Good night.